Hi, it's Heidi from A Lively Hope. I am here with a journal flip through. I loved the size of this journal. It is Handbook brand. I believe that I bought it at Hobby Lobby. And it was just the perfect size. So I'll just flip through and tell you about it. Here's a page that is stuck together, maybe on purpose. Sometimes, if I don't like what I made or something, I'll glue two pages together. But I don't think, I'm not sure. I'm just gonna move on. In this one, I made some patterns all over the page and then went back over the top of it with black ink to form the Choose Happy words. This is some marbling that my kids and I did. I was trying out paper cutting. Super fun, but it took a long time. Here's some doodles over watercolor. Be kind to yourself. These were all cut out of paper that I had painted already. Some watercolor. This is done with a Micron pen, which is one of my favorite kinds of pens. It is permanent, so it doesn't bleed if you watercolor on top of it. There's some journaling about a trip we went on to California with my husband's family, and then some watercolored palm trees. This is acrylic paint with some Micron doodles. And again, I painted the background of this and then drew the flowers on top and then colored in the background. I believe that's acrylic paint in the back. This was a fun little exercise. It's a crayon resist. I'm sure you've done that before. So I did the crayon first and scribbled all over, and then did watercolor over the top, as well as some journaling. Some watercolor and doodles. This is acrylic. The doodle on top. This, I believe, is a white gel pen. It's a photo I printed of my little daughter at the time. And then just doodled all over with white gel pen. It's just a little collage of painted paper and then a card I got somewhere. Quotes from Hamilton. This is from a while ago, the journal. My daughter and I got to see Hamilton. I believe this is glued together pages on purpose. I loved this photo of my son at the aquarium. We felt like that Ray was smiling at him. So sweet. So this is acrylic, some washi tape, just some paint doodles, and then another little doodle here. I believe that's with Sharpie. Watercolor with Micron on top. Just a list of things I was grateful for at the time. Always. Yeah, always grateful for all those things. So this is a story. My little daughter had a bad dream. She's only 2, so she couldn't quite articulate it. She was 2 at the time. But she said, there was a big pink fish who was going to get you. And I just thought that was so sweet. So I drew it. Quote. I think I did Sharpie first and then gel pens over the top of the letters. Acrylic, and gel pens, I used some Mod Podge to put in this doodle I had done on some craft paper. There's some journaling. This is actually a cut page, which I do every so often. I think that's fun. And the back of it is some collage. Looks like I did not finish journaling. I remember this was a friend of mine had sent me this fun sticker, so I put it in here. This was just a bunch of squares and rectangles that I watercolored on a paper, and then again blacked it out for the letters with black acrylic paint. This is a quote from my son, who was 4 at the time. "Amn't I a cutie?" And then just testing out my pens here to see which ones still worked and which I needed to throw away. This one is not finished. If you can be anything, be kind. How to finish that one. Like a window in my heart. A little Paul Simon for you. Some collage and journaling. Some doodles. That's Sharpie. This was experimenting with drawing a blank. I can't think of what it's called. Oh, masking fluid. Sheesh. Just different layers. So I put down masking fluid on the white, painted it all one color, added masking fluid, painted again, to get all those different layers and colors. Get to see Annie, so that's the playbill. Sharpie and watercolor doodles. That is watercolor in the background, and then pen and acrylic ink. Some pen doodles. Fortune favors the persistent. I must have spelled it wrong. I need to go back and fix that too. There's some watercolor pages, a little journaling. This was Halloween. I had a bunch of, or maybe it was a parade or something. My kids had left a whole bunch of candy wrappers on the table, and so I just Mod Podged them in here. And when my son, who was 4, saw it, he said, "Mommy, this makes me feel so proud of you." He loved the candy. So I wrote that. "This makes me feel so proud of you." Here's a fun little watercolor. Ooh. There's some more candy wrappers. This is again from marbling with my kids, and then black background with gel pen doodles. Favorite mindless activity there. Scribble all over the page and then fill in the areas with different colors. This is Lake Powell, probably. Just some shapes. More leaves with watercolor. Watercolor again. Micron pen and journaling. This is acrylic ink. Practicing with some stamping, it looks like. And some doodles. This is the very first stamp I ever carved. And I love it so much. I think we're going to see lots of stamp carving from here on out. Yes, so this is just marker, and then more stamps. Stamps. Some doodles. Looks like it got wet a little bit. There's more stamps again. The same one actually is here, just different color ink. This was a fun one. I was really happy with how that butterfly wing turned out, and I just washi taped it in here. Butterfly quote. Some more mindless doodling, black acrylic, and then gel pen over the top. This is my oldest daughter playing the guitar. Doodles all around. Some spin art. I think my son actually made that in an art class. Doodles. And this is actually tissue paper that's glued down, those squares of color. This is a tape transfer of a coloring page that I made. You can get this free on the blog. And I also have a video showing how to do a tape transfer. Pretty fun. Some stamps, some acrylic ink. Nope, I'm sorry, acrylic paint. Stamps again. This is done. My husband and I went to New York for a week. We got to see the Jimmy Fallon show, which was awesome. Had to document that. This is just some maps and things from our trip. Cut paper in shades of blue. Love how that one turned out. So this is highlights from our New York trip. I washi taped in some extra. I just wrote highlights, or I like to write down quotes. Funny things that we say or we hear other people say. This is, we were camping in Brooklyn, and we were attacked by a raccoon. At the time I was delusional and thought it was a squirrel. I punched it in the face because it was trying to get into our tent. And my husband didn't believe me at first. But then he did. And then we left because it wouldn't leave us alone. Someday I'll tell you more about that, I guess. And this is just the last page, and it's a cutout from a magazine or something. So that's the end of that journal. This is from a little over a year ago. Really loved that journal, and I love how big and chunky it looks now that it's all full. So, thanks for watching.